beats on 100, sure.
You are tuning in to T Consciousness. Please like, comment, and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you. What's going on social media? It's T Consciousness coming back at you with another video on masculine female nature. I'm speaking on this to enlighten men that may not know what they're going through if they're encountering things in the likeness of what I'm explaining, so you get the picture more in depth in what you're dealing with. Female masculinity begins in the environment she was raised in. She naturally picks up the inclinations of her mother that was most likely damaged by men, and her damage has her in a psychological disassociation from femininity's natural state. Her mind, body, and spirit becomes broken when bad boy dick break her walls open. In this culture, women do a lot of love and husband finding by being promiscuous, looking for that guy that they can find desirable to stick with long term. And a lot of time, women don't vet the men they sleep with or demand them to wear condoms because they think babies are the portal gateway to marriage or long-term love with a man. And it's not that way, according to a man's anatomy of sex and why they do it with women. But women are doing it for more sentimental reasons, family building reasons, but men are doing it on sexual thrilling reasons. In this culture, we lack clinical knowledge on sex health information and the importance of family building legacy. Our minds is just locked into having sexual fun at the moment and not really counting up the cost and the outcome on the contentions on why we engage in what we engage in at the time under the influence of alcohol, recreational drugs or whatever, or not understanding the full magnitude of our emotionalism and the state it psychologically has us in, that's based in what we're pursuing and why. And the women that are hurt on this type of time, going about love and sex in a hypersexual way, being promiscuous, letting the guys they find sexually desirable to hump on them, give them a baby and thinking love and marriage gonna birth out of it, never works. The frequency they on just attracts those type of guys that find them good enough just to bump on for the night or just for a period of time until they heighten their options. The problem is there was no productive male role model in the home with them, with a civilized mother that was the ethical companion to that man that's in a position to ethically produce alpha male attributes. And if there was father figures in the homes of these struggling women in society with men and stability with self, these men were beta simping the mothers. So beta simp men raise beta simp boys, and the mothers that operate with these men civilize young women to grow up and be in control of men who have the tendencies to be beta simp boys that they were naturally attracted to based in the routines of survival, growing up with men that was raised to be beta simp boys based on the spirituality of what civilizes who they are in society, and that's based in the structure of their mindset and their sociological nature instincts. For ages, women felt there was a war against them by men, psychologically, sociologically, mentally, spiritually, and took effect on their reality. To strive to the top or to gain equality doing what men been doing in areas that's been functioned by men, to prove their equality and relevance to society amongst men. Because as time went on, they fathomed that female nature is like some type of suckerism or some type of suffrage or some type of theory of being an inadequate, needy, helpless woman. They want a sense of oomph in their persona and profile as a woman, but the more they strive to become adequate up the economic ladder or superior in what they're trying to establish to be equal to men, and their concept really drives them from their femininity. The experiences that break the mind, body, and spirit of a woman is when she is inappropriately touched at a young age. And I already touched on in another video about why women are promiscuous and unruly in the second part when I talked about the pillars of sexual damage of women. When a woman is overly protected, rejected, neglected, or molested. I'm not gonna go all deep back into that because I already did And if you want to hear about that, you can just go to that video. That video will be in the description and a link under this video. Women who don't operate much in their feminine essence is either they were sexually broken at a young age or sometime in life, or they just went through a lot of traumatic experiences with the opposite sex, and their trauma sometimes put them in a state of mind to disassociate with their feminine self. The magnitude of mental trauma brings them through psychological changes that unconsciously distances them from their feminine self, their feminine identity when it comes to prissiness and submissiveness and being warm and gentle and loving and generous and very sentimental, nurturing and warm. All the trauma she's been through has her in a hypervigilant survival mode. And especially if she experienced prison, it puts her in some type of hypervigilant cutthroat mode. And if she had to fend for herself, she had no job, no education, she had to get it out the mud on the streets. She adapts to that type of life and she becomes mad rugged within herself, her mind, her instincts to live a lifestyle of prostituting or assisting drug dealers and robbers and killers and setting up men, or going to sell her body or strip, getting into sex work fields and stuff that comes along with shysting men. And they adapt to that lifestyle and they become immune to it, and it desensitizes them from moral ethical thinking and caution on consequences from normal things that comes with the sentimentality of humanity. They may have felt abandoned by a man who left them alone to raise a child by themselves, and it could be circumstances of the man just had a sexual encounter with them based on sexual attraction and nothing more, pursued what they did and a baby birth out of it, and they kept on moving. Or in the other case, the woman could be so problematic from her traumatic experiences that she's been through that conditions her behavior with how she go about monogamy in a defiant way that she don't realize is toxic because she wasn't shown the proper demonstration of what healthy monogamy is. A woman's life that's been full of pain becomes her euphorical gain, psychologically and sexually, because that's all she felt, and she adapted to it, and she learned how to survive off feeling it and distributing it and creating situations that would create pain to feel the social benefits and the psychological gain off of it. There is a significant image that masculine women tend to carry themselves in. Like, they have neck tattoos, hand tattoos, arm sleeve tattoos, chest tats. Sometimes they have like facial tattoos. They bald their heads or have like the half shaved look, and the rest all like, curled in bangs or whatever, or a ponytail on top, all shaved around. Kind of have a deep voice. This is a way where I can instantly pick up where she is in her femininity based on how her hair is dressed, her tattoos, type of clothes she wear, and the way she interact with men. And she use a lot of slang, talk the bro code talk, and she wear like baggy clothes, or sometimes they wear type fit clothes but have like the masculine type behavior. She smoke a lot. She could like fluently recite hardcore rap songs. She probably rap herself. She could play basketball. She could play football. She like infatuated with guns. She rep her hood. She's ghetto, not afraid to fight anybody. She's like a bro from stuff like that. The type of careers masculine women get in are what my boy calls the macho man jobs, like being security guards, police officers, joining the army, the National Guard, the military, the COs of a prison. All these things are assigned to the anatomy of a man to be a protector, warrior, and fighter. When a woman becomes sufficient in carrying out these duties, she's insufficient to being naturally feminine. Or if she still has it, it's manual. I don't want a woman that can turn on and turn off her femininity. I want a woman that's naturally inclined with femininity 24/7. I don't want a woman that can base her voice, chase a nigga down the street with no fear, and punch and throw hands with the dude, beat him up, tackle him to the ground, place handcuffs on him, or ain't scared to bust guns, air the whole house out, shoot out with gangsters and drug dealers and stuff, get shot, get up, finish shooting. That's crazy. I'm not on that type of time where I want a woman that can get busy community that like to box, that like to wrestle, that like video games, playing with dudes, smoking weed and stuff, or she's in a law enforcement job where she's busting guns, busting criminals' heads open, kicking in doors, chasing them down the street, jumping fences, tackling them to the ground, wrestling them down, managing to get their arms behind their back so they can put the cuffs on and then pick them up off the ground and throw them in the back seat like a helpless piece of crap. Even firefighter jobs, that's masculine macho man jobs where men fight fires, ain't scared to walk into danger zones, where there's toxins and smoke and fire where you can get burned up. You gotta go in there and save lives and grab people and run through rubbish falling down and breaking down on you and stuff like that. That's naturally male nature, masculine stuff to do. And when women adapt to doing stuff like that, they're naturally not in this psychological feminine state of mind to dwell in that type of career. And you know what it all starts from? They wasn't raised to be feminine, or they experienced some psychological trauma, some sex trauma, or some violence with a man that left some trauma in their head that developed them into a state of existence that's parallel to a man to survive and find psychological triumph over the trauma that a man caused, or find their place in society based on how they was raised to be by a masculine mother figure. Another form of the masculine woman is a woman who is education and career driven, who has no other choice but to dwell on seeking status in these things to elevate up the economic ladder. Nothing is gonna get in her way, and no man is gonna come into her life and put her in a position to not need to hustle hard to keep her own, because she's stuck in the mindset of it's me and my bag, I gotta fend for me. And if she got kids, she's thinking about fending for them kids first. Any man that come along in her life is just an add-on. His relevance is gonna be based on what he can offer. She don't love him. She's not in love with him. She's only in love with what he offers that makes her hustle a little easier. But yet she's still gonna be locked into that hustle hard mode for herself and hers. She's gonna give the time to a guy who's offering his time and resources that make her hustle a little easier. But she ain't gonna let up. And if you ask me, what's wrong with a woman being strong and independent? When a woman thrives on everything that comes with the territory and the psychological and economic and sociological circumstances of being a strong, independent boss bee, it drives her from her natural essence of femininity. That's not gonna be natural for men who are alphas to sexually attract. Alpha females don't go hand in hand with alpha males. Alpha males are the strong men of their society, of their environment, of their circle. It's not natural on universal law of sexual attraction and how masculine male anatomy works. They're not gonna naturally attract to alpha females because it's gonna be the equivalent to two alpha men fighting for the throne of leadership. It's like two alpha male apes fighting for the last banana in the jungle, or fighting over the female they both have a mutual interest in. They're gonna fight to the death or fight to who's severely injured. That's gonna leave an impairment for the rest of his life. No man wants to be in a position where he gotta stand up to a woman who's posing as a man. No man wants his masculinity, his intellect, his character challenged by a female in a violent way. And another thing, masculine females have the tendencies to think they can Mayweather with men, unaccountable. They like to be oppositionally defiant, breaking his property, taunting him with things he loves, using it as a weapon against him, to provoke him, to snapping, and to hurting him because they want to feel pain for some type of victimized gain and some type of dopamine game of excitement that gives them some type of resignation that the dynamic they're in with that man is worth their while experiencing because of the reward that can come out of it, which is legal privilege, feminine, pretty privilege that takes effect in the legal consequences on that man against her. Women tend to masculate the more they have sex with a lot of men because of telegony, which is neurological information that's passed through semen from when a man ejaculates to a woman, and her microchimers receive that and it uses it for the rest of her life in her body. And when women have a lot of sex with men, they stray from natural femininity, feminine instincts. They have sex for dopamine excitement like men do. So they feed off sex like men. The more they have sex with men, the more they become men by instincts, and it's not natural. And they don't understand and see why they can't find stability in love. And the most stable love dynamic they're gonna get is with a beta simp guy that don't know the first thing that's up against them dealing with a woman like her. Women also tend to emasculate when they work out a lot. Working out builds testosterone. When they build those biceps, triceps, get them abs cut, and them thighs and all that, all cut, them legs, them calves all popped out, their chests all pumped up, and they look like they can lift a man into the air by his neck. I tend to stay away from women and tell men to stay away from women who are fitness gym rats. They tend to be very promiscuous and masculine based on the stamina of work they do on their body raises testosterone, and the psychological instincts of being a woman depreciates. I don't like no rowdy, ratchet, loudmouth chick. Those chicks are ghetto, most likely been with a lot of men. They have less self-respect, less innovations. You know, they don't have much of a moral compass. Like my guy Captain Saver Bro said, he talk about that moral compass. I ain't gonna mention that without mentioning him. Shout out to the manosphere, man. I wouldn't know or have inspiration to do what I do if it wasn't for Dr. BOA, if it wasn't for Alpha Male Strategies, Steph is Cold, Captain Saver Bro, Mark the Messenger, Alpha Sincere. Shout out to the Crimson Cure and Danica Marie Dope Discussions, Love Dorsey, Melanie King, and Dr. Umar Johnson, and rest in peace to the God, Kevin Samuels. Well, that's enough of what I have on masculine women. You will see me the next time I upload my next content. Please like, comment, and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you.